Hey, this is Kevin Douglas playing Modern Burn in a league. Looks like we have to mulligan this, no land, and not a great start, but at least it does something, so I think we'll keep. We're going to have to fetch away whatever's on top, so it doesn't really matter, although it actually makes me think, seeing Eidolon, that I might want to keep it. It is a little bit slower, but I think really all we lose is the advantage of being on the play. And a little bit of card advantage because they're going to get to draw, but they already took a mulligan. So I think we lead with Scalding Tarn, just because it's not quite as obvious that we're playing Burn. They're going to lead off with Misty. Into Breeding Pool, might be playing Infect here. There's a Birds of Paradise, and we're going to want to Searing Blaze that. So I think I'm just going to draw this Eidolon. And then cast Searing Blaze. I'm going to fetch up a Sacred Foundry, just to start fixing our mana. Oh, we could always run the Eidolon out on this turn. You know, next turn they're at 3 mana. Maybe I probably, maybe I wanted to run out that Eidolon first. They're not going to like collect a company a turn ahead of schedule or anything like that. So see, Breeding Pool, Dark Slick Shores. So I think we fetch for a land here. Lava Spike, and then run out the Eidolon. It'll probably get pushed if it doesn't get countered. So Grizzly Salvage. They're going to reveal top 5 cards of the library, put a creature or land from among them in your hand, put the rest in your graveyard. So we see Jace, Sideboarding Finder. So it looks like we're maybe playing some sort of Sultai weird mid-range, kind of mid-range control deck maybe. So casting cards into our Eidolon is awesome for us. It's a 1/1, so it's not going to block Eidolon very easily. 4 more cards enter the revealed zone. So there's Angler. The fact they kept that Satyr Wayfinder, I think they kept the Satyr Wayfinder. Is that the card they kept? No, they put Jace into their hands, so they already had the Satyr Wayfinder in hand. So now what we wanted to see. I think we can start attacking with Eidolon. Gives them another creature in their yard. Maybe they play like Scavenging Ooze or something, but gotta keep up the pressure. I don't see any counter spells. They definitely want to abuse their graveyard, though. They've Glimpsed the Unthinkable, and based off their other cards, I'm guessing they target themselves. I could Lightning Helix. Like I said, I don't see like any counter spells, so maybe I just hold on to it. But in case they remove the Eidolon, I have so much mana, I'm not in like a huge rush to cast it, I guess. I think I'll just hold on to it. Maybe if they do play like Scavenging Ooze, I'd rather Lightning Helix a Scavenging Ooze and attack one with Eidolon. It also maybe makes them think they have a little more life to work with than they actually do. So just put them in their puts them into their graveyard. So kind of a weird deck. I'm not sure what we're playing. This happens in the friendlies sometimes. I guess it probably happens in the competitive league too, but sometimes people are just kind of playing their brews. They're going to play that Jace. Go down to 4. I'm going to fetch. We have another land to trigger landfall if we draw a Searing Blaze. I just want to thin the deck even marginally. Find another Sacred Foundry. Fire off this Lightning Helix. We'll take 2, but gain 3. Now they're locked out. And I think we just attack in a couple times with Eidolon. I mean, maybe it's right to attack him with Swift Spear, but I guess this turn it would have been blocked by Jace, is my guess. And so, I mean, it's hasty. Might as well just save it for next turn. Because if Eidolon does get like Fatal Pushed or something like that, at least we just save like the 2 damage. And they might tap out thinking they have an answer for our 1 creature, and then we can get in with the other creature, because it's hasty. So for instance, maybe they take this line to give this creature -2, -0. Think that just kind of answered my board. So they can't really cast anything here. I'm not sure what they're doing, unless they have something that costs 4 mana. They could just be dead. Nope, they have a Gurmag Angler. So as long as they haven't used Jace's... Okay, so they are going to use that ability on Jace. Or use Jace's ability on the Eidolon. We still have a lot of live draws. We still have a lot of time. There's no need to risk this Eidolon. But I think what we can do is cast Goblin Guide Swift Spear and just swing in. Because whatever they would cast would deal them damage off the Eidolon. So we'll just attack in here. See Hedron Crab. So it's a weird kind of like mill deck, but it maybe mills themselves too. We don't really have any graveyard hate. I think cards we'd like worry about here are the like Gnaw the Bones or something. I do kind of like Skullcrack. I think I'd rather have Skullcrack than Searing Blaze. They don't seem to run too many. Well, they run enough creatures that we can target. We saw Hedron Crab, there's Satyr Wayfinder. Searing Blood would not handle a Hedron Crab, I don't think. Although Hedron Crab might be a 0-2. I'm thinking it's a 0-3, but look up Hedron Crab. Looks like it is a 0-2. So part of me wants to bring in Searing Bloods instead of Searing Blazes. Maybe cut like the Searing Blazes, bring in Searing Blood. It's a little less conditional. We can't target a Gurmag with it like we could with the Searing Blaze. But I think they've shown us plenty of targets to bring in 2 Searing Bloods. So I'm still getting this STR const error. I think we're gonna keep here. Honestly, they don't look like a super fast deck. And I'm not even sure that I'm going to bolt this bird if I had the opportunity, because there's nothing that I saw in their deck that was like so powerful that I thought I needed to, that like bolting that bird was really like that bad. So we will go ahead and run out the Goblin Guide here. I doubt they block. So there's a Satyr Wayfinder. My guess is that's probably what we'll see next turn. It's a blocker for the Goblin Guide. Fills up their graveyard, which is something they want to do. And we've got 4, 10, 13 damage on board, or in our hand. A lot of mana. So if they help us out a little bit, Goblin Guide could become a blocker to like a really quick Gurmag Angler. Especially if they're bringing in upright shocks. Drown in Filth. For each land card in your graveyard. So that was enough to kill it. They found 1 land, which is enough. So there's a Gurmag Angler. It does put us on a clock. We are going to want to Lightning Helix this next turn, I think. I mean, it depends on what we draw, but Eidolon actually seems pretty good. It's a blocker. It's going to limit what they can play this next turn. So I'm actually going to fetch for a mountain. Let me see here. So we've got 9. We've got 13 damage. Not in a huge rush from Gurmag Angler. But I think we just play Eidolon. We can take a hit or two from Gurmag. And then this can become a blocker like next turn. Here comes a Blooming Marsh. We're going to spend 2 on a Satyr Wayfinder. And it'd just be ideal if they just cast into it again. So Syrian Blood is pretty good. I think we put in the Sacred Foundry tapped. No, actually, I think we can do it upright. Wait for them to hit us with the Gurmag Angler. We'll block with the Eidolon. And then we can like Searing Blood. So we suspend Rift Bolt. And then if we draw a land, we can fire off 2 spells. And also just suspend Rift Bolt this turn. Take another hit from Gurmag down to 9. I think the fact that they have 2 cards, not a whole lot going on. We have like lethal in hand. I think we just get a little bit aggressive here. Suspend this Rift Bolt. And then once we block with the Eidolon, Searing Blood the birds. Yeah, so Breeding Pool is definitely coming in tapped. So they will pass, 2 cards in hand. Syrian Blood's the birds. We could also leave up Skullcrack. 2 cards in hand. I guess if they have it, they have it. With that Gurmag Angler, we don't have a whole lot of time to just hold up Skullcrack. We'll see if they like gnaw the bones here. They did not, which I feel would have been worth it while we're tapped out. So a land draw here gives us lethal in hand. And I think I would just wait until their turn. So we'll just hold up Skullcrack. We can Lightning Helix their end step. Looks like they're drawing maybe more land than they'd like to see. But that is good for us. So I think they have us on a 2-turn clock, but we'll go ahead and Lightning Helix. So there's Stubborn Denial. Another Boros Charm. So we're going to want to Lightning Helix now. I think before they have an opportunity to draw another like Stubborn Denial. I mean, if they have the other one, then there's really not much we can do about it. But and then with Double Boros Charm, if they do draw that Stubborn Denial this turn, if we draw a land, we can still fire off Boros Charm, Boros Charm. They're going to Glimpse the Unthinkable on themselves. We see more Drown in Filth. There's a Grave Crawler. They have a Zombie Fish. So it doesn't have haste. And I think as long as we get to untap, at least we have a shot at this game. And they're not holding up. Yeah, so there's no other bones. It's a bummer. So we had Skullcrack, so we should have just held up Skullcrack. But I mean, we actually couldn't. Because they had lethal on board because of that Stubborn Denial. So not much we can do here. I think we have to concede, but we will be on the play. We could bring in like a Chain to the Rocks as an answer to Birds of Paradise or a Gurmag Angler. I don't know that I saw Abrupt Decay. I guess I probably should have scouted their library a little bit better, or their graveyard a little bit better. I'm trying to think what I'd take out for it. Although really that's better on the draw, because we're going to have stuff like Searing Blood and other like Lightning Helix on turn 2. I think we're just going to submit it back. Definitely want to play first. 2 land, Swift Spear, Searing Blood for their Mana Dork. I think this looks good enough. It doesn't have a Skullcrack effect, but you can't just pitch an otherwise good hand, I think, because of that. They do have a pretty painful mana base, it looks like. So I guess that we can kind of hope that they drew like, they have a hand they had to keep, but it had a bunch of fetch lands or, shocks they need to bring it up right. But it looks like Dark Slick Shores. They'll sculpt their hand a little bit. Tome Scour. Gnaw to the Bone does have Flashback. So I think we just have to get really aggressive here. And really pressure their life total. Unfortunately, they're gonna be able to gnaw to the bone. On their third turn. And so I guess drawing a Skullcrack would be very good here. So 1 black. There's a Gurmag Angler. And a Vengevine. So interesting. That is a pretty good start for them. And I think right now we're just kind of hoping that they're stuck on mana. So there's a Scalding Tarn. I think we Searing Blood. Well, actually, Gnaw to the Bone is not that great anymore. So do we need to like pretend like we have Skullcrack and just play at their end step? It's gonna be better with Hedron Crab. But again, Hedron Crab makes their Gnaw to the Bone better. I think we've done enough damage to ourselves where we can't Searing Blood the Hedron Crab, get in for an additional 2, and then hope we have like Boros Charm. I think we need these as blockers for the Gurmag Angler. But the question is, do we Searing Blood right now? So they have their Gnaw to the Bone isn't quite as good. I think we do. Because if they have a fetch land, they could potentially gain a lot more life. And we would just be bluffing up that Skullcrack. And this puts us in the position too where we can draw 1 CMC burn spell and hopefully just win out if they don't gain any life with that Gnaw to the Bone. It'd be great if to cast that Gnaw to the Bone they have to play an Upright Shock. We're going to look for a Satyr Wayfinder, so this does open up the door for us. To draw like a Lava Spike or a Lightning Bolt, or maybe even a Rift Bolt. So Vengevine, we could. Well, would they keep off the Satyr Wayfinder? Looks like they put a Polluted Delta into their hand, which gives them the mana for Gnaw to the Bone next turn. So I think, is it all graveyards or just their graveyard? In your graveyard. I mean, we're not going to attack in, so I think we might as well block. So they definitely have mana for a pretty good Gnaw to the Bone next turn. So we need a land draw or a 1 CMC burn spell. Eidolon is actually not the worst thing to draw. It does make their Gnaw to the Bone a little bit worse. But it's definitely not what we wanted to see. So now they would gain 6. But really they'd only gain 4 because of Eidolon. But that'd still put them at 11. Would still need to buy a turn to draw into a burn spell. So they're gonna think about attacking. I'm not sure whether they like left the Gurmag Angler back. And I think we just blocked the Gurmag Angler. We don't want to give them another creature card in the graveyard. Yeah, here comes that Gnaw to the Bone. Super unfortunate. Really wish we would have seen a seen a land last turn. Or yeah, just a land or 1 CMC burn spell. We're not totally out of it yet. Cannot cast the Swift Spear. Because Swift Spear, that'll attack for 2, this will attack for 2, fire off the Boros Charm. So we can still do 8 damage, but they're out of reach, and we need the blockers. We don't want to cast it because that gives them lethal. So they go down to 10. Tap Breeding Pool. They probably have Dispel. Hasty Vengevine. I don't think there's anything we can do here. So I think we can see this one. Unfortunately, you know, we were a couple good top decks away from winning. That's kind of how it goes, though. So good game to our opponent. They had a really good start. Getting that Gurmag Angler down turn 2, and then with the Vengevine was just brutal. Without that, I think maybe we would have maybe stood a little bit better of a chance, but hand was a little bit clunky with 2 drops, and then you know, just too much aggression from their side.